was that. And she threw me back. Now, I've never had a doctor put a needle in my arm, take my blood, or access my arm, my veins for IV. But immediately she came in and she wrapped a tourniquet around my arm and she put a needle in my arm like immediately. And so my mom, like, I'm sitting there. By this time, I'm sitting up in the chair, in the little examination chair. By the time she done flew me back, and so like I done like went on a mini roller coaster ride. My mom is sitting there like, okay, what's going on? What's going on with my son? So she's kind of stunned, not moving, not saying much, and so that she saw everything that was going on, and finally, I guess, it grasped that, something serious going on, I need to know. So my mom was like, what's happening? And immediately, without skipping a beat, without turning away from my arm, without turning away from what she was doing, she was like, he's having a stroke right here, right now. So I didn't know it. I remember looking at the doctor, but she told my mom that my face started to droop and my eyes started rolling in the back of my head, and that I was having a stroke right there in the doctor's office. So my mom, she's such a sweet lady. I mean, don't cross her, but she's a sweet lady. And I'm her baby. Not the baby, but the baby. So she's like trying to stay strong, but she's getting emotional because here it is, her 10-year-old son, who has already gone through a lot in life with sickle cell, is now having a stroke right here in front of her eyes. So she's out there, I hear out there calling, because by this point, the doctor and nurse are in there doctoring me up and nursing me up and doing all this extra stuff. So she stepped outside, she's calling my grandmother, she's calling, my dad, she's calling, my aunt, she's calling people, to let them know what's going on and kind of to get support for, not only for me, but for herself, because, she's in this place alone in probably one of the most scariest moments in her life. And so I'm sitting there and the doctor yell out, I need you to call an ambulance and I need them to be here like in less than 30 seconds. Good thing we was right beside a hospital. The doctor's office is right beside a hospital. So the ambulance came and, my mom is still talking, to the family members, telling them what's going on. And the doctor's like, listen, we won't be able to take care of him here. He's in too bad of shape. This is too serious of a condition for us to handle in this small little country town memorial center. So we need to send him to the next, the place that's the better place that's closest to us, which was about 30 minutes away. So the ambulance came, they put me pretty much in the ambulance, and they put their sirens on, and they're hauling, to the next hospital with my mom following behind in her car. So I would get to the hospital, which was a much larger, much more established, much more equipped hospital. And my doctor had already called, so they took me immediately up to ICU. And when they took me up to ICU, they started hooking up all these tubes to me. They started, putting stuff down my throat. They started putting extra IVs in me. I'm sitting here still unbeknownst to what's going on. Yes, I heard the doctor say I had a stroke, but still at that time, you're 10, I'm unbeknownst to what's going on. And so, I pretty much am just watching people, nurses and doctors and my mom and ER and, all these people frantically try to get me better. At that moment, I knew, Dexter, something is different. The hospital stays aren't for anything. The missing of family and friends, events, or occasions is not, just because you wanted to. You really have something going on. You you're not quite wrapping your mind around it yet, but there's really something going on within your body. And now it's looking like it's taking a turn for the worse. So I'm 10 years old in ICU. I mean, if you will not, and I will not say, but you will not be able to imagine what they had to do to me there. I mean, it's not like they raped me or violated me. I mean, they violated me because I didn't want them to do it. But, they didn't illegally violate me. So, but, it's a lot that went on in that time. And it just made me realize that, Dexter, you're special. You're special, because you have a health issue. And during the time in ICU, I guess my brain registered to what the doctors and the nurses were saying, because that's when I finally heard, not heard with my ears, but like through my ears to register to my mind, sickle cell. And I guess because I was put in such a devastating circumstance, I was old enough to where I can comprehend what they were saying. So, that's when I realized that I had sickle cell, and that's when I realized that I was different, and that's when I realized I was special. My family, my friends, my co-workers, some of my school teachers never treated me any different. They did what they had to do to make sure that I was comfortable, but they had the same expectations. And from that moment on, I had a higher respect for my mom, because 6 months prior to my stroke, my sister was in a car accident that almost took her life. My mom was in the hospital in ICU with her 6 months ago. 6 months prior to that, I won't say ago, but prior to that, was going back and forth to physical therapy, was having to carry my sister. And mind you, my mom is maybe 5'2", at that time, 98 pounds soaking wet. She was a little thing. So, it was a lot to handle. But my mom was strong. My mom stayed in the fight. She fought through it with myself, with my family. And she made sure that regardless of what was going on around me, that I still had a great life. I still had, a lot to be thankful for. She made sure that I was taken care of, so that when it was time for me to start taking care of myself, I had someone I can look up to, and I knew I had someone I can go to who did it perfectly for so long. Because they gave me, several times they told me I wasn't going to make it past certain age limits. And we can get into that on another blog. But as far as now, I'm grateful for her. I'm grateful for what she's done. But that's the time that I found out. Why am I talking so crazy? Anyway, that's the time that I found out I had sickle cell. That's the time that it really registered, that I realized that I was different. But you know what? I'm grateful. I'm grateful for life. People may call me extra. People may call me all that they want to say. Honey, I don't care, because I've been through enough to where I can run around however I want to without a judge or a care in the world.